Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's World. I'm going to get right into this video. My red car's been sitting here because I'm in the process of putting a V8 in it. But before I start the process of putting the V8 in the car, I wanted to do a video showing how to put the PCV fix in. You can get it through supercruises.com. This version that I have in the car is the one that comes with the catch can, which is also known as an oil separator. It has all the appropriate hoses and lines and fittings and everything needed to install it easily on the car. On this version, I did a ported intake manifold, so I'm going to take the footage from the ported intake manifold install and show you how to put everything in the car. So on my car, I have the engine cover from Super Cruises and the ported intake. So you can order the ported intake manifold with the oil separator, and everything goes in pretty simply, and it's designed to fit perfectly. So this video is to show you how to pretty much do that. So I'm going to steal the footage from when I installed this stuff. I'm going to show the footage of how I put that in place. I'm going to show the footage of how to plug the intake manifold. And then at the same time, I'm going to show the footage on what we can do with the aftermarket intake manifolds as well. This is the ported version. You can order the ported version and we'll pre-build everything. Just so all you need to do is put the ported intake manifold in. Everything will be set up for you, and just have to mount that, and then take 2 fittings, and it's pretty much that simple of an install. Actually, a 3rd fitting you have to take part of up there as well. But it's a really simple installation. I like doing the ported intake manifold version of it because we plug the PCV port for you, which is the rubber diaphragm that actually breaks and it gets ingested into the engine. And then you can just swap intakes, so then this intake will give you more power as well. Let's jump into the office and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so we're back in the office and I want to show you Geraldine's ported intake, with better lighting, and we have to get the orange up. Basically, there's a little nipple in there. Let me see if I could show you. Hold on one second. All right, so if you look down inside, you see that nipple that's in there. Now that nipple, if it's still there, like basically I'll tell somebody, can you look down in here? And if you look in there, you should be able to see it from the top. Let me show you that as well. So if you look down in there, you can see it from the top. Here's the thing. If you have that nipple still in there, then that doesn't necessarily mean the check valve is still in the intake. That just means the nipple is still there. A lot of times the check valve could be broken off, but the nipple is just left. And ironically, people worry like, oh, if I pop that out, it's going to be in the intake. But a lot of times it just disintegrates anyway. And by the time you even get the PCV fix, it's already gone. It's already disintegrated and mashed up by the engine anyway. But if you're really worried about it, it's only a couple bolts to get this off. You need an inverted. These are inverted Torx. It doesn't take much to get this off. It's 6 bolts on each side. You just got to get your fuel rail out of the way, and then you can do this literally on your table, just like I'm doing it, if you're really worried about that check valve. Also, let me show you the dormant intake. Okay, so this is one of the new dormant intakes that are on the market, which are a replica of GM, but they have a different type of plug. Now, if you see, it replicates General Motors, but it's slightly different. Now, if you look inside, you can see it has a much longer type of plug, but it also is further in. So you cannot use the usual screwdriver method to get in there and plug it. You do have to take this off. And again, it's just 6 bolts, and you just have to, move your fuel rail. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to have a brand new one sitting on the shelf somewhere, and you're going to be, or you just bought it and you want to put a PCV fix in, but these go bad too. And the way to get rid of this type of setup is the same. You're gonna pop out the nipple that's in there, but you're just going to use a screw and screw it in place instead of using the usual plug that you would use on a General Motors version, but the kit works on both styles. Now, what I usually do is, because I do this all the time, I have specific tools for doing this. So I'm going to go in and literally just push this plug out. I don't know if there's a way to see it on camera, but if you look right here, I have a tool that's literally going to push this into the intake. Okay, I make custom tools all the time. I pretty much make whatever I need, but this is how you get this diaphragm out. The diaphragm is literally a piece of rubber that falls apart, and this is why you end up having problems. And the next thing you need to do is you always get one of these tools. Because I deal with brand new intakes, I can just sit there and clean it real quick, but typically there's a bunch of debris in there. But this is actually just adequate, and if you look inside you can see that where the nipple was is now a clean port that we're gonna basically cap off. Now the next step of the process is putting the plug onto the screwdriver. You have this micro dot, micro glue dot or whatever it's called. You're gonna put this on a screwdriver and you're basically gonna let it sit on the screwdriver, but make sure you put the plug in, and you want it to just sit here and harden up a little bit. After mixing up the JB Weld, you're gonna pretty much put it on this plug. Well, I shouldn't say pretty much, this is what you have to do. So you put the JB Weld on here, and you want to move a little fast with the JB Weld, but usually what I do is I look from the top and I can pretty much tell where it's going. And you can pretty much feel the hole. And if you look inside, you can see the plug is now filling up the hole instead of the hole being there, and that JB Weld will harden up, and then that'll pretty much seal off the PCV. And this has to sit for about 24 hours, so you really can't drive the car till tomorrow. An alternative is you can also buy one of these ported intake manifolds, and so it'll already be done for you, and you can just swap this in. You don't have to worry about you know, doing your own intake or doing any of the porting. This is good to go, and you'll get performance out of it as well. So the next step when you receive the kit would be, when you're ready to do the install, is jack the car up. Jacking the car up allows you to get to the other side of the little hole that's in the strut tower. There's a pre-existing hole that my quick release bracket slides right into, and if you jack the car up, you can get to the other side of the hole, so you could actually put the nut on. Once it's jacked up, then what you can do is, if you just see right here, you could actually gain access to the hole right through the spring with just a long extension and a socket, and that'll allow you to tighten up on the nut for the bracket, and you're good to go. If you utilize that pre-existing hole, the bracket and the catch can and the whole assembly, like basically it'll put the catch can right here, and you'll be able to lift the can out, clean it out, and then drop it back in place without having to unbolt anything. All right, so it's a pretty simple install, and once the cup is installed, the catch can goes right in place, and now we can put the hoses on. Okay, so the next part of the process is going to be setting the hoses up. Now, one of the carryover pieces from an old intake manifold to the new intake manifold is the evap solenoid. On this car, the evap solenoid had a little bit of a cracked plastic hose going from the solenoid to like the check valve. I decided I didn't like the way it looked, so I just chose to take some additional rubber hose that I had and repair it. Normally, these intake manifolds come with like a spring tension clamp, but because I needed additional clamps, I just put regular screw-on clamps because that's what I had available to me, and I just used whatever rubber hose I had, which was oil resistant, but it doesn't match the rest of the kit because it's not for the kit. Something was just wrong with the car. So what I'm doing is finishing assembling everything. I'm making sure everything is routed correctly because I have to get this into the car. All right, we're back at the car. I just want to point out a few things. For starters, on the intake manifold, I want you to make sure the routing is like this, whether you change the manifold or just put in the PCV fix on the Cruze, is the routing is supposed to look like this. You have your Y split. This is not supposed to be here. This is that part that broke, but it should basically be from here to there. You have your Y. You have your check valve, which should point towards the intake manifold. You have this little hose that comes to the T. You have one extension for here, another one that goes to the oil separator, and then this one goes down to the turbocharger. You're going to steal the fitting for the part on the turbocharger. You have your oil separator holder, which is right here, and it's a press fit holder. Which is really nice because you could take it out, drain it, and put it right back in without having to disassemble anything. You want to try to keep it as level as possible with the engine bay. Well, I should say with the lines coming out of the intake manifold. and you're going to steal the fitting for the part on the intake. That's the only thing you're reusing from the GM lines. Have the larger hose off of the turbocharger. The next thing you would need to do on your side of things, when you receive the intake manifold, you have to get this off the car. You have to simply cut the plastic, this like springy looking hose off. And you just make sure you use a sharp razor blade and a flathead screwdriver, and it'll pop right off. If you cut it the same way I did in the video, it'll come right out, no problem. Then what you want to do is slide all of your clamps on the larger new hose that comes with the PCV fix. This will be in the box with the intake manifold. Slide your fittings on. You're going to clamp everything down. Everything fits perfectly like it was made to be that way. You're going to assemble everything. Basically, the catch can add-on is going to be 2 additional hoses, an additional fitting, and then that longer hose, so it'll reach to the Super Cruze's catch can, which will be on the strut tower housing, or just the strut tower, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you in the next scene how to install the quick release bracket. But as long as you set everything up the way I'm doing it in the video, everything will line up perfectly on the car.